Well, we are coming from a lower level, an intermediate level, into a high. Okay, so let's come back here. We're going to stay on the 15-minute time frame for this evening. And what happens here? We get a nice gap up. So we see a lot of strength coming into Asia. That's very telling for a couple reasons. One, we know when we see that strength and we have a gap up, gaps love to be filled, particularly with NASDAQ. They love to trick them down to 50% of the gap, trade away from the gap, and then eventually trade back to the gap. That's exactly what they did. They filled that gap here. Now, of particular importance to us is that our 6 o'clock open, which was here, and what is this line? I'll get rid of that. And we have a strong suspicion that if they hold this middle level, we're going to trade higher. If we trade higher, the next place we're going to capture is the 6 p.m. open. And if we capture that 6 p.m. open, we're coming for the highs, our boom level highs. Okay, so this was pretty telling, but there's a few key features here you got to look at. Number one, we traded right back into a 3-bar. What does that tell us? Well, that tells us that there was big money here making this move happen. Big money sponsored this move and this gap up. Okay, they did have a slight sweep here, so they took out the early buyers. However, came back into that same area and purchased again. Not only once, but a couple times. So there were some entries here to be had on lower time frames. Remember, once we hold this middle level, we're going to 6 o'clock. We hold 6 o'clock, we're going higher. And key factors for us, key evidence, another 3-bar, followed by bought it up, sold it back in, and boom, away we go. Same thing, brought it back in a second time, sold it, bought it back up, brought it in a third time. We see a 2-1-1-3 reversal there. So we know that when we see these inside bars, there's consolidation, right? So what happens? Get this big 3-bar. It rips out of there again. So we see all these buyers, all this aggression coming out of here. This is big money moving this market up. Okay, we get to our 6 o'clock. Our 6 o'clock, we get we clear it, small pullback through. We traded some internal structure, took out some highs, come back in, and then we trade higher again. This is all overnight. A lot of you were sleeping. I know I was. But at any rate, it was a good night to be trading. And this thing just kept ripping straight up after that. Straight up, straight up. So what happens? We come into our New York open. What do we see? Pre-market. They're still throwing some threes down here. They're still throwing some threes down here, right? So what do we see? We trade higher. We take out something to the left over here, some higher time frame structure, get a pullback, mitigation of the range, and then I don't know if we had news or something this morning, but at any rate, we got a nice quick sell-off right before the open, 9:15. This was a liquidity sweep. What happens when we fail to close? Failure to close means what? We're going to take the highs. We're coming for the other side. So that's exactly what happened at 9:15. Market opens with failure to close below. Out of a 3-bar, we had a lot of confluences. We called out this level up here, 897, I think what we called. And we really messed up because 897 did not get hit, but 896.75 did. And then from there, you know what happens after that. But we're starting to see all this aggression in here. All this aggression. And then what happens? We get up here, we see a small consolidation, and we start reversing price. 2-1-2 reversal to the downside, followed by a 3. And this price action for me was not too easy, I didn't think, but we start seeing a slide down. And they just slid it down, 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 down until where? Where they bought before. Boom, right here, the origin of the move. This, a lot of money moved that back up out of there. A lot of money moved this 3-bar out of here. What are the chances they do it again? And they sure did. Followed by some more good price action. This is probably a 3 o'clock, 350 macro area out here. But anyway, very interesting price action, but it was a heck of a move. And that whole thing from Asia, from where we went through our equilibrium level to the first level, would have netted you 133 points. And then to our next level, where we called out in the daily process 400 points. 400 points on that level. On that reversal, we look right back down, another 218 points. So guys, if you're not making money in the markets, come join us. Our levels work. They work every day. They work every night. We know what to look for. We can help you find the same things. Come join us.